Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something pretty incredible. How Ford, one of the biggest names in the auto industry, recycles over 2 million tons of materials every single year. That's right, 2 million tons. That's enough to fill about 20 football stadiums to the brim. But how do they do it? What kind of materials are we talking about? And why does it matter? Stick around because we're about to break it all down, step by step. From scrap metal to olive tree waste, Ford's pushing the boundaries of sustainability in ways you might not expect. Let's get started. So, first things first, why is Ford even doing this? Well, the auto industry is a massive resource hog. Building cars takes steel, aluminum, plastics, and a ton of energy. And for decades, most of that waste, like old cars or factory scraps, just ended up in landfills. But Ford's been on a mission to change that. They've set some pretty ambitious goals: 20% recycled and renewable plastics in new vehicles by 2025, zero waste to landfills by 2030, and a fully carbon-neutral future. Recycling over 2 million tons annually isn't just a flex. It's a key part of that plan. Think about this. Every year, around 14 million vehicles in the US alone reach the end of their life. That's a mountain of steel, glass, and plastic that could either sit in a junkyard or get turned into something new. Ford's tapping into what's called the circular economy, a system where materials don't just get used and tossed, but reused again and again. And trust me, they're not messing around. This isn't just about PR. Recycling saves Ford money on raw materials, cuts energy use, and lowers their environmental footprint. Plus, with electric vehicles on the rise, they're aiming for 2 million EVs by 2026. They need sustainable solutions to keep up. So, how do they pull this off? Let's dive into the process. Okay, picture this. An old Ford F-150 that's seen better days. Maybe it's rusted out or just too old to fix. That truck's journey doesn't end in a landfill. It's where Ford's recycling machine kicks into gear. Step 1, end-of-life vehicles, or ELVs, get sent to dismantling facilities. Here, pros strip out everything reusable: tires, batteries, fluids, you name it. About 80% of a vehicle's materials can be recycled or reused. The steel frame, shredded and melted down for new parts. The glass, crushed and turned into new windshields. Even the fluids, like oil, get cleaned up and repurposed. In North America alone, the auto recycling industry handles around 12 million cars a year, and Ford's a big player in that. That steel? It's enough to make 13 million new vehicles annually. Crazy, right? But it's not just old cars. Ford's factories churn out tons of scrap, like metal trimmings or defective parts. That stuff doesn't go to waste either. It's collected, sorted, and sent to recycling plants. Steel's a superstar here because it can be recycled endlessly without losing quality. And Ford's been doing this for years. Back in 2010, they were already diverting 25 to 30 million pounds of plastic from landfills just by reusing things like old detergent bottles for underbody shields. Here's a fun fact. Recycling 1 ton of steel saves 2,500 pounds of iron ore, 1,300 pounds of coal, and 119 pounds of limestone. That's a huge win for the planet. And Ford's doing this on a massive scale. Now, Ford's recycling game isn't just about metal. They're getting creative with stuff you'd never expect in a car. Take soy-based foam. Since 2007, Ford's been using it in seat cushions and headrests. Today, over 2 million Ford vehicles on the road have this biofoam, cutting petroleum use by 1.5 million pounds. That's like taking a small oil tanker off the grid. Then there's coffee chaff, the husks left over from roasting beans. Ford teamed up with McDonald's to turn that waste into headlamp housings. And get this, in 2024, they started testing olive tree waste, branches and twigs from Spain's olive groves, to make footrests and boot parts for EVs. Every year, olive pruning creates 7 million tons of waste. Ford's like, hey, why burn it when we can build with it? These plant-based materials aren't just eco-friendly. They're strong, lightweight, and moldable. Ford's even played with bamboo, hemp, and captured CO2. They were the first automaker to use 100% recycled plastics in parts, and now they're pushing the envelope with renewables. It's not all perfect yet. Some of these are still in prototype stages, but it shows where they're headed. And here's the kicker. Using this stuff cuts down on petroleum-based plastics, which are a nightmare to recycle. It's a double win. Less waste in, less waste out. So, how does this all add up to 2 million tons? Let's break it down. Ford doesn't publish an exact yearly breakdown, but we can piece it together. The auto recycling industry as a whole processes billions of pounds of steel, aluminum, and other materials annually. Ford, as a major player, contributes heavily through its vehicle production, over 4 million cars a year globally, and its ELV programs. Steel's the heavy hitter, making up most of that 2 million tons. Add in aluminum, think wheels and engine blocks, plus plastics, glass, and those innovative biomaterials, and you're easily hitting that mark. In 2022, Ford reduced waste to landfills by 35% across 84 sites. That's a massive shift, and it's only growing as they scale up EV production. The impact? Huge. Recycling this much saves energy, enough to power 17 million homes for a year if we're talking steel alone. It cuts greenhouse gases, keeps junk out of landfills, and reduces the need to mine new raw materials. Plus, it's a $25 billion industry in the US, creating jobs and keeping the economy humming. But it's not just numbers. It's about building a future where cars don't just take from the planet, they give back. So there you have it. Ford's recycling over 2 million tons of materials annually through a mix of old-school scrap recycling and cutting-edge innovation. From shredding old F-55s to turning olive twigs into car parts, they're proving the auto industry can go green without losing its edge. And with goals like zero waste by 2030, they're not slowing down. What do you think? Are you impressed by Ford's efforts, or do you think they could do more? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Maybe we'll tackle Tesla's recycling next. Who knows? Thanks for watching, folks. See you in the next one.